Welcome to Fresh Start. We're talking about flourishing. Central to both the concept of flourishing and shalom is community. So we want to focus on how to build community in this module. We want to encourage you to build community at all levels, from individuals, families, groups such as church or civic or interest groups, community, state, country, and globally. The overarching concept is that golden rule which we all learned back in grade school: treat others the way you want to be treated. It's important for you to nurture relationships. We have been encouraging you to get a buddy. There's reason to this, because two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. It's important to value family as a group as well as individual relationships within and without the family. The quality of our relationships affects the habits that we practice, our level of stress, how well we sleep, how compliant we are with the medications we use, our weight, and our mood. Positive relationships make us happier, less lonely, less stressful. We live longer, we recover more quickly from illness, we experience less pain, and we have a better sense of well-being. Healthy relationships are also associated with increased health maintenance practices, like blood pressure checks and cholesterol checks, as well as physical activity and eating healthy food like those fruits and vegetables. It also helps us decrease cigarette smoking. However, our family and friends can influence us both for good and for bad, and it goes both ways. We can be a good or a bad influence on others just as they are on us. For example, looking simply at the risk of obesity, it's increased for you if your close friend is obese, or if your sibling or spouse is obese. Flip it around, and if you take care of yourself and decrease that excess weight, you're more likely to positively influence those who are close to you. There was a study at Harvard of adult development that began back in the 1930s. They began with a group of Harvard male sophomores, but later expanded the study to include Boston inner-city teenage boys. They were followed for more than 75 years. The study actually continues now, and over time their wives and children were included in the study. Some of the things they identified were very interesting. Those most satisfied in their relationships at age 50 were the healthiest at age 80. People in happy marriages in their 80s reported that they had better mood despite physical pain. And those in unhappy marriages in their 80s felt both more emotional and physical pain. The study found as well that those with warm relationships live longer and happier. Loners often died earlier. Those with strong social support experienced less mental deterioration as they aged, and women who felt securely attached to their partners 2.5 years later were found to be less depressed, happier in their relationships, and had better memory functions. It's important to invest in a relationship both for selfish reasons as well as to positively influence those who are important to us. We need to be kind. We need to listen to one another. We need to open up with one another, to show up when we promise to be there, to be trustworthy, and to be available in those times of need. We also need to work proactively at preempting conflict. That begins with being honest and accepting responsibility when we make mistakes. Avoid unnecessary confrontation. Hold off on that snarky comment. Let others have their opinions as well. And as we talked about in a prior module, we need to practice forgiveness. If you harbor that unforgiveness, you're only hurting yourself. You are keeping yourself in prison. It's like carrying around a backpack of rotten potatoes. So we need to avoid those toxic relationships. If you have them, or if you need help in preventing them, we would encourage you to seek out somebody. A professional counselor or a clergy who's experienced in counseling would be helpful. Studies also show the benefits of pets. Those who have pets have less heart disease risk, their blood pressure and cholesterol levels are lower, they tend to have better cognition, and their mental health is better with less anxiety and depression and loneliness and PTSD. They also tend to socialize more. And pets are very helpful specifically for children. And we can focus specifically on dogs. To walk that dog requires that we get out and move. So dog owners have increased physical activity. They also live longer and they have a decreased sense of pain. We need to set aside our self-interests and seek a common good and promote mutual flourishing. We will benefit as well. We need to be in fellowship with other people. One form of that has been extensively studied is within the religious context. Most of the studies have focused on the Christian faith. However, similar results are being seen in other faiths as well. Involvement in a religious community promotes a better immune system, better outcomes from illness, decreased mortality, generally better health, such as things like a lower blood pressure, a better sense of well-being, better mental health with less suicide, less depression, and better coping mechanisms. However, watch out for those church potlucks. If you go to too many of those, you'll need the luck. They tend to feature the least healthy foods. But that's okay once in a while for a celebration. We also want to encourage you to consider being a volunteer. You do good and you feel good. Volunteering releases those feel-good hormones, endorphins, and even remembering back when you have volunteered helps release those same good feelings through memories. Are you ready for health?